All right, we're live for another episode of Keeping It Real. Today, I'm really excited because we have a really special guest. Actually, Todd Tramonte from the Dallas area has joined us. He was actually the very first person that ever did one of these Keeping It Reals when we were just starting to get going, and I was like nervous as heck. And we didn't know exactly what we were doing, but we're still doing them, and we have Todd on today. For those of you that have never joined us on a Keeping It Real, my name is Jeff Manson. I'm a Hawaii real estate broker and founder of Real Geeks. And my co-host is Frank Klesitz. He's the CEO of Vyral Marketing. And today's episode is how Todd gets 1,958% ROI on internet leads. So we're going to go ahead and introduce Todd here in a minute. But I'm going to let Frank let you guys know how you can follow us. Oh, and by the way, we also have our Twitter account now. We finally got the Real Geeks Twitter account, so we're going to get going on that here soon. So at Real Geeks for Twitter is now actually Real Geeks Real Twitter account. We haven't done anything on there yet, but we're going to start posting a lot of stuff. So follow us there. What are the other ways they can follow us, Frank?
Sure. Thanks, Jeff. So go to keepingitreal.com. We have all the shows we've been doing for what, 2-3 years now, Jeff?
Yeah, like going on 3 years, maybe going on 4. Who knows? 3
years of shows with top real estate agents all around the country about what they're doing to be successful. Keepingitreal.com. We're also on iTunes. So if you want to be pushed the latest episode, you can go there to listen to it. Put your email address in at keepingitreal.com, and we'll only update you with some of the latest shows. No other emails or anything else.
We're not going to spam them at all.
No spam, just the latest shows that are on there. Also the YouTube. Check them out there, as well as Facebook. So there's plenty of ways for you to stay in touch if you like the shows.
Yeah, Real Geeks Facebook. I got a bit of a head cold, so bear with me, folks. I will try to mute myself when I'm not talking. So Todd's from the Dallas area. He's currently a little bit over 1 million GCI year to date. Him and his team average 3.6 commission per side on both buyer and seller side. So that's a bit more than the average agent probably gets. And he's tripled his business in 4 short years with 3 simple lead sources. And we're going to cover those lead sources. Hey, Todd, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. It's funny to be, you're talking about doing the very first one, man. I remember literally talking about how to get leads and how to convert them and saying, you know, there's a lot of people that use this thing. Let's get on and share our stuff. And so Frank came along and put it together, and here we are again. So I'm looking forward to sharing whatever we can to help everybody watching.
Oh, great. Yeah. So, I mean, we really appreciate you coming back on and sharing, and you're a true superstar. I mean, you rise above to share with people, and that's what these Keeping It Real mastermind sessions are all about. And so let's just jump in. I want to bring people, we're going to get to the lead sources and the ROI and how you work them and all that good stuff. But I'd like to know how long you've been in the real estate business and how that progressed to get where you are now.
Yeah, so it's a long story, but I'll try to make it as quick as I can. But I never had any intention whatsoever of being a realtor. In college, I had a bunch of different majors. I always knew I loved small business, but I was really passionate about youth ministry. And so after undergrads, I went to seminary. And I thought I was going to go into this life of ministry, which in some ways I have, but I was looking at ways I'd be able to support a family and make some money on the side. So I started reading about real estate. I ended up doing some investor training, started doing some wholesaling and flipping of houses. I only got my real estate license as part of that process, and to skip a bunch of stuff that nobody cares about. Eventually I got in the business. I woke up one morning, my wife was going out to her job at a Big 4 accounting firm. I'm sitting in the extra bedroom of our apartment, and I literally have this thought, oh no, I'm a realtor. Like that, like I'm just a normal working out of the extra bedroom. I have no marketing. I have no systems. I don't know what I'm doing. So I ended up buying a franchise, and for 5 years I ran a franchise. It was actually a flat fee discount franchise. And I learned pretty quickly throughout that process that my passion had been, I want to deliver more value than other agents. But I kind of went the wrong way. I went with lower price, same as everybody else. And I learned that what I really wanted to do was offer more value than anybody else, better systems, tools, resources, better results. And we found over time that a better team, a better system, better training, more resources to invest in the client experience has allowed us to get to, like you said, actually higher fees, more volume, our agents making better income. So we're in the North Dallas area, Richardson. We have a guy in Fort Worth as well. Our agents have a lot of fun. My role is to invest in them. And so that's kind of where we are and where we've been. And I'll let you guys ask whatever follow-ups you want.
All right. So you went kind of fast. So everybody knows, I kind of know your story because we're friends, and you've helped me actually buy real estate here in Dallas and some family members. You've done a great job. So you actually have a team, and you're no longer doing day-to-day real estate now. You've got a team, and you're kind of the rainmaker, as they would say, correct?
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. I don't deal personally with clients, but I make sure I help our team members deal with clients, and I do a lot of the marketing and training and leading of the team.
All right, and we'll get into some of the training later on, because I know most people are here. They want to find about all the ROI and what's working for your team. Yeah, what does your team look like, just real quick?
Okay, really quick. We have, as of today, we have 4 agents outside. Now they all specialize. So there's 2 doing buyers and 2 working only with sellers. We have 1 business development person. The industry would call that ISA. That's not my favorite term. So he does business development and a lot of leading and training on the team as well. And then we have 1 client care person. And then we have a traditional team support, and her role is anything but transactions. So she just supports our agents and our team members. So we're a total of 8 people.
Okay. All right, great. And as a team, you're currently over $1 million GCI. What are you going to wind up with this year?
We'll probably end up, it depends on December. We actually usually have huge Decembers. Right now, this one looks really good, but not necessarily massive. So probably 1.2, 1.3 in total GCI is kind of what we're aiming for, hoping for. Yeah.
All right. So what are your 3 most productive lead sources and the ROI? And once you disclose those, then we can probably dive in each one of those and go through.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you the 3. I'll give you a quick explanation. Number 1 right now absolutely is an online lead coming through Real Geeks. Okay. Number 2 is radio marketing, radio advertising. We would classify that as direct response radio.
Sure.
And then number 3 is repeat and referral business. Now, repeat and referral would easily be number 1 if you if you calculated it as an actual paid marketing deal. The ROI is exponential. But as far as total volume of business and profitability, that's the way they rank.
So you're generating more new business than repeat and referral, which is great, because if you're working all 3, that means you're growing, right?
Yeah, I tell people you want your referral business to grow every year, but I like to outpace it with my marketing. Therefore, the percentage actually dips a little bit. So it's about 42% of our business, but that's only because we're doing more and more marketing business every year.
Sure. Okay. And then you said the number 1 was the online leads coming through the Real Geeks website. How are you doing that? Are they buyers? Are they sellers? Are they both? How does that look?
Yeah. So I believe the reason that our ROI is so high, and I actually just checked it before we came on, and we quoted it a little low, actually. As of today, it's 2,033%. So we're basically getting 20 times what we're putting into it. But I believe the reason that's so high, number 1 is we have a pretty simple follow-up system and we actually follow it. But number 2 is we're obviously in a really favorable market right now. Like if people are listening right now and you're not doing well with online leads, think about it like this. Most people would call these leads buyer leads, right? I think that's a very bad label for them, because the market that we're in right now, most sellers in most markets are totally paranoid. They don't even want to mention or verbalize the idea that they're thinking about selling until they've looked at what they can buy and become really confident that their budget, their potential net out of the one they're selling can get them into a house they love. Because if not, they're just going to stay put. I train my team all the time, and we train our consulting clients that a confused mind says no. A confused mind always says no. And right now, sellers are a little bit confused on, should I sell my house? Am I going to end up homeless? Am I going to have to move twice? So those online leads are absolutely both buyer and seller leads. So where in a strong buyer's market, that lead may be worth half of what it's worth today in this market, but they are definitely buyers, which means the value that we can pull out of a quality online lead is massive. It's the most it's ever in your career. So I think good solid follow-up and the fact that we're in a favorable market are obviously helping us with really good return.
So what you're saying is these, I call them property search leads. If they're actually signing up on a property search, they did a property search, they signed up. So I call them a property search lead, but a property search lead is both a buyer and potentially a good bunch of them are sellers. But what you're saying is you have to treat them like a seller as well, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I would say our instinct is to assume they are both until they determine otherwise, instead of assuming they're a buyer and potentially losing the entire sell side of the transaction. Of course, some of them are 3 or 4 sides involved. Occasionally you have a marriage and adult marriage. They had 2 houses, they want to sell it and go buy 1. So these leads are extremely high quality, and I think we've certainly made this mistake at times in the past where we undervalued the internet lead or the buyer lead, Real Geeks leads, because we push them all through Real Geeks. But yeah, it's a home search lead, an online lead, internet, whatever you want to call it. But they're higher percentage of sellers and buyers than at any point in my career.
Sure. And I just want to stress too that I want to really beat this home, because everyone's like, how do I get seller leads? How do I get seller leads? Well, start by treating your property search leads or your Zillow leads or any lead that's inquiring about a property. Stop treating them just like a buyer, because if you treat them like a buyer, they're not going to be exposed, or they're not going to expose themselves as a seller. So you got to ask the right questions, and you don't just go, hey, do you have a home to sell?
Yeah,
Because you're going to scare them away, right?
Think about it. That lead, that opportunity, and it's how you talk to them, how you follow up with them, and ultimately how you consult with them and represent them. But it all starts with how you be thinking about it before you do anything with it.
Yeah, because I think
how do you get your leads? I'm sorry.
That's all.
Say that again.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, I just want to beat this home. Hold that thought. I think it's all in the mindset, and like Todd is saying, if you think of them as a buyer, you're going to keep treating them like a buyer. So the mindset is hey, this is a potential seller and a buyer, and I need to approach it that way, and I need to follow up with them, because if they are a seller and you treat them like a buyer and you don't ask the right questions, or you scare them off because you don't know how to ask if they're a seller, because you're just asking, do they have a property to sell, instead of with a little bit of tact, you're not going to get them at all.
Yep.
Because they're going to end up going and listing with somebody else. And then you're not going to get them, even if they're using the website and it's easy to use and they love that, unless the listing agent royally screws up, right?
True story. Yep.
All right. So I want to dive in to, after we find out what Frank was asking, I want to dive in and find out what you guys are doing to convert these, because it sounds like you're converting a high level of them if you're getting such a high return, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's beautiful to get into it. Frank, did you have a question?
Yeah, how do you get your leads into Real Geeks? Pay-per-click, Facebook ads, database? I mean, how do you actually get people, and talk about your spend when it comes to ROI?
Yeah,
your sound is horrible right now, Frank. Is it the internet? Is it?
Yeah, I think we're breaking up a little bit. I don't know.
It's okay. I got you. We'll keep rolling. The answer is a lot of different ways, but the vast majority of them are through Google pay-per-click. So they're an online home search lead, looking either zip code or geographically targeted. And so we're targeting areas that we do well in, we produce well in, that are close to us, that kind of thing. But ultimately, 85+% of our online leads are coming from a pay-per-click ad straight into Real Geeks with an immediate opt-in and really quick, detailed follow-up.
All right, so let me.
Can we talk a little bit about the money on how you spend on pay-per-click? I mean, I know our audience wants to know. At least where you'd recommend them to start.
Well, he's getting a 2,000 return on the money he's spending, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's about 20 to 1. 2,033% is our numbers as of today.
So what are you spending a month, roughly?
Yeah, no, honestly, it's not as much as you might think. Right now, we're right about 2,000 a month as our pay-per-click budget, and then of course, Real Geeks, so affordable, we don't pay a whole lot of attention to it. So, whatever it takes to have the platform, and then run a couple $1,000s of pay-per-click budget in there. Now, I will say we could easily produce more leads, but more leads is not always better. right? So right now our budget's about $2,000 a month-ish. It goes up and down depending on how we are. We're about to add another agent to our team literally next week. We'll probably bump it up a little bit more. And then our average cost per lead right now is about $14 per lead. And so depending on your conversion rate, you have different tolerable cost per leads. And, there's probably a bunch of people right now thinking that's crazy low and a bunch of people thinking that's high. But as Jeff can tell you, it depends on your market. It depends on your price point, a lot of things.
I agree.
But I'll tell you any number I've got. I'm happy to share anything. So we're about $2,000 a month for direct, for actual pay-per-click, and we're about $14 per lead. And of course, we've got thousands of leads that we've generated over the years, being a Real Geeks client for, 5-6 years now, however long it's been. And so we do have some seller valuation leads in there as well. And then we have leads from other sources as well. But does that answer the question, or what else can I tell you?
That answers.
Yeah.
Good,
You
cool.
get about 140 leads a month to Real Geeks at that, then, right?
We try to give a lead a day or a little bit more for every buyer specialist on our team. So sometimes our cost will dip. We'll go up, 200-300 leads a month. Sometimes it'll creep up a little bit and we'll be down 120, 130, but we don't ever want to go lower. We only have 2 full-time dedicated buyer specialists right now. So if we're 60 to 100, we're rock solid. So we're always more than that. Our business development guy can jump on some of those. And then of course, much more than that. And they're not following up really well. So it's easy to turn it up, but there's no point in turning it up if people are not going to follow up on it really well. So I know a lot of people are like, well, I get 1,200 leads a month. Well, that's great, but I would need like 40 agents to follow up on that well under our business model.
Right, exactly.
God, that's very helpful.
All right.
That's very helpful. Let me just,
Okay.
they have a lot of questions on this. Basically, one more if we wanted to follow up, Jeff.
Yeah, I'll take every question you got.
All right.
Give
But I
the
got
audience
some questions too that are going to help them. But what's the next question?
Just give the audience the last thing they want to know is just give them some keyword terms that they can start off with going after. Some models of what you're using. So they kind of know your cost per lead. They kind of know how many leads you're getting to how many agents. Give them an idea of what the message is for the ads, maybe some of the keywords that you recommend.
All right, so I'm gonna answer this because I know what that. He's got a third-party person doing that, so Todd does not get involved in the keywords and all that. He's just going after that. He's outsourced that out and has somebody doing that. So he doesn't know.
I can tell you the basics of it because Jeff's right. I don't even pay attention to it. I'm a set it and forget it, keep it simple guy. But basically, they are bragging on Real Geeks. Hey, check out every house in the area. We do a zip code or a specific city. And I can tell you when we talk to a new lead, the things that are most important to them are having access to the number of houses and the fact that it's updated constantly, right? So we'll mention in our ads that it's updated every 15 minutes, that it's reliable, accurate data. But Jeff's right. I'm not typing those ads. I'm not crafting them. We got a third-party person that manages all that. Real Geeks offers that. You can find that a lot of places. But I actually do love marketing and copywriting, and I focus on that a lot in other areas. But when it comes to pay-per-click and online traffic, that's not my go-to area of expertise. So we hire someone to do it, and we do what we're great at doing, which is jumping on and converting them and representing these people. So I'll answer any more specific, but Jeff's right.
I would say the majority of them are geolocated, like Richardson, homes for sale, properties for sale in Richardson, that type of thing. And then the ad price says easy to use, search all MLS listings, one easy site, that kind of thing.
Yep, updated every 15 minutes. Yep,
yeah.
You got it.
Okay. So when the leads come in, you must have some sort of follow-up procedure, practice that your agents are doing. Can you go through that and share exactly what they're doing to convert these? Because you guys are getting basically a 2,000 plus return on the money you're spending, so you're doing pretty well.
Yeah, so I'll give you exactly what I've got, and I'll give it to you a couple of ways. Let me first just say, if you're getting excited, definitely grab your pen, grab your paper, start typing. But this is not rocket science. You guys have heard Jeff tell people this 100 times, or coaches all over the country. And when I'm training my team or when we're working with our coaching or consulting clients, I tell them, this is not the only way to do it. If a good plan that you actually follow will probably work, but I'm about to give you my exact plan. But I'm just telling you, you can take it and copy it. And as a matter of fact, if you go to the little link that's under my name right there, we'll give it to you. We'll send you our exact deal and a couple other unique things we do in our business. But I'll tell you right now, this is what we do. When a lead comes in, our goal is at most 5 minutes, right? We want to call them back within like 30 seconds. And I still absolutely value a real live human-to-human phone call most. Now, we are using the text autoresponder in Real Geeks, so that's going out too. But I have a higher value for the phone call. So we call them as quickly as humanly possible. Anything more than 5 minutes is a mistake and a problem that we have to fix. So that goes out. And then, do you know what I mean when I say bulldog, Jeff? To bulldog a lead?
No, but I have a feeling about ready to learn.
Yeah, you're about ready to learn. All right, so we call it bulldogging. And what that means is so let's say you just opted in, we call you, you don't answer. I'm not going to leave a message. I'm going to hang up. I'm going to pick it up and call you again. If you don't answer, I'm not going to leave a message. I'm going to hang it up, and I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to call you a third time. 3 times, bam, bam, bam. Now, some people are listening going, holy moly, they're kicking the door, and these guys are dirtbags. But here's the deal. What's the worst thing somebody's going to say to me if they pick up the third time, right? I'll tell you what it is. Did you just call me 3 times, right? And we're going to say, yes, we did. And I hope I didn't overstep any boundaries, but you had just signed up on our website, and our commitment is to get anybody who asks us for information to get connected with them right away and make sure we take care of them. You know, the biggest complaint in real estate is that real estate agents don't return phone calls and they don't follow up. And we've made a commitment that will never be us. So we just wanted to get back in touch with you as quickly as we can. And then we would jump right into our follow-up language. So I know that sounds crazy to some people, but we're going to bulldog them if we need to. You know, if they answer, obviously we're good to go. Right. But if they don't, we're going to bulldog them. Now, as far as our tracking, we're just going to call that one call. So we want to call them 1 time early and 1 time late that first day, which means we call them twice the first day.
Sure.
So we would call them twice the first 3 days. Okay. Now, we have an exact plan on who to call when, on what day, and literally which leads to follow up with on what day. So let me just kind of walk you through the whole thing real quick. And you got. Okay, so on day 1, we're going to bulldog them. That's 3 calls in the first 5 minutes if it's necessary, and then 1 call later in the day. Now, obviously, if the lead comes in late, then we start that on the second half of the first day and finish on the first half second. So day 2 and 3, 1 call early, 1 call late. I'm only going to leave a voicemail every 3rd or 4th call, depending on what I've got. If I've got a cell phone or a home phone, you know, I might do that a little more on a cell phone, a little bit less. Now, when I say call, that might mean that one of those calls is a text message. We're definitely texting on those first few days for sure. And texting could be as many as half of these attempts, okay? So day 4 through 10, 1 call per day. Day 10 through 30, it's 1 call a week or whenever you have time after you're calling your higher priorities. And then on day 31 plus, we're going to call these people about once a month or as often as they're active on the site, right? If they're favoriting or they're coming back, we're going to call them as often as they're active. Now, that's who we call when. Twice a day, every day for the first 3 days. Once a call every day for day 4 through 10. Once a week, day 10 through 30. And then once a month, pretty much forever, as often as they're active. Now, here's how we map that out on a calendar. And I think this is really, really important because that is really simple to follow until every day when you get ready to call, you have to make decisions about who to call in what order, and then it just doesn't get done. So I would encourage on our team, we put this on their calendar for them. Our consulting and coaching clients, we help coach them through their schedule and how they follow up and how they prospect and how to build it into their calendar. But if you just want to copy it, I would say on Monday, first thing you do is call all of your needs, all of your leads, anything that's new, all of your new leads. Then call all of your 2 to 10 day old leads. Then call all your day 2 and 3 leads a second time. Does that make sense? I don't want to get way off course here.
Sure.
Then on Tuesday, of course, I'm going to call all my new leads because I call them every day. Then I'm going to call all my 10 to 30 day leads. And then on Wednesday, new leads. Thursday, new and 10 to 30. I know this is getting annoying, but I just want to show you how specific we are. On Friday, all of our new leads. And then either a call night or a Saturday morning session, we try to pound out all of our 30-day plus on the dialer. So we don't need to get into all the details, but if you go to that link, you can have that. All right, what are your questions?
So let me ask you a question on that. So what time, because these are buyer's agents calling and following up on their leads. So what time of the day are they doing this? Because they're following a schedule, I'd hope.
Yes. So on their calendar, they're going to start that priority list with priority 1 and work their way down. So we do a morning huddle every day on our team in the office. Everybody comes into our office. So a lot of teams or brokerages don't work that way, but that's how we work. Everybody's in the office. We do a huddle at 8:30. It's like a 10 or 12-minute huddle. So at the latest, they're starting their morning prospecting at 9 and they're going to 11:30. Some of them are getting there and calling from 8 to 8:30, their top priorities, and that's smart.
Yeah.
But basically, they're doing 2.5 hours, first thing they can in the morning, and they're starting with brand new leads, and then they're working their way down to most recent or hottest leads. When they get to the end of this priority list, that's when they'll follow up with warm leads that are on the calendar or task notifications from 30, 60, 90, 180, 3 years ago, or their personal sphere or open house follow-ups or whatever. So our marketing specialist or our listing agents have a slightly different priority list, but they're really doing the same thing. And then they're trying to carve out some afternoon time for that second follow-up, for the second call on the 2 call per day people, or if they have an appointment slot that they've pre-scheduled that they don't end up putting an actual appointment into, then they're going to use that for 90 minutes of prospecting to double dip on some of this stuff.
So that's your for the newer leads coming in for the buyer's agent. So what are they doing to get higher engagements from the leads? You mentioned texting.
Yeah.
What about e-blast? Are you guys e-blasting anything when a new listing's coming up that may be searching on the website, or what are you guys doing with that?
Yeah, so we're calling, texting, and emailing, as well as a little bit of social media. You'll find out in a second. Jeff will probably bust my chops on the fact that we're not using Facebook as well as we could, and we know that. And just hear me loud and clear. I tell my team and I tell coaching, consulting clients all the time, you can only do so much. So do what you're gonna do really, really well, and then add something when you can add it at a very high level. So there's some things that we know we want to add, but we haven't added yet. That's always going to be the, for Kaizen, constant improvement. That's all good stuff. But right now, our primary top 3 are real phone calls with voices, text messages, and emails. So we use Infusionsoft for a lot of our long-term nurture and automated email follow-up. We use the Real Geeks emails for our short-term early conversion, and we use Real Geek text for short-term early conversion. Now, once we get some good banter back and forth, obviously our agents typically roll that off to the actual one-off personal text on their phone or whatever.
Sure. Okay.
And we get some video stuff too, but go ahead.
So you guys are doing listings. So are you doing anything like I've recommended to Corey Prince, and he's really doing it highly effective and all this, as far as when you got a listing coming up, search it, because you got all these leads looking in Richardson or Plano or Frisco or wherever they're coming in, or these neighborhoods. When you guys have a listing, are you guys then sending out an email, like doing because in the Real Geeks database, and I'm bringing this up because there's a lot of Real Geeks people watching this.
Yeah.
And I want to teach them why we're having this, right?
Yeah,
so I don't know if you're doing this or not. You are doing this?
Yeah, okay. So I'll tell you what we're doing, and then you can tell everybody what I could do better. Okay. You see me, Frank? I had my guard up because I knew he was coming for me.
I'm coming in.
Bobbing and weaving. All right. So here's what we do. We'll go into Real Geeks, and by the way, the advanced search stuff in Real Geeks is so legit that if you guys aren't using it, you're crazy. So we'll go in, we'll do an advanced search, we'll pull all of our leads that have been active, say in the last 30 or 45 days in a specific area where maybe we have a new property going on the market. And then we'll shoot that out. And of course, then that's where I was saying to you, Frank, about 85% of our traffic is coming from pay-per-click, because a big chunk of that is actually coming from email traffic that we're pointing back to the site, either that have already opted in, or that have been stagnant, or that have come into the database from something else. So we are working the database, because I got my guard up for Frank coming at me too. So we're working the database. So we're sending them those emails, we're warming it up. And a lot of what we do with those emails, Jeff, is we do it before those properties have gone live.
Yeah.
And we're telling them, hey, you can have access to some of our private portfolio marketing. Some of the homes that nobody potentially be the only person that gets to see this house. If you'd like a sneak peek, let us know. So that drives a bunch of traffic back. And of course, sometimes it's just an immediate request for a call or a showing or an appointment. So it can come back to the site that way, or it can come back as a very warm, very hot lead, which an agent would jump on directly without routing it really through the site or through one of the other portals.
Yeah, so let me just expand on that. So one thing that, and here's the thing, if you've got Real Geeks, or if you've got leads and they're searching and using the website and they're searching for properties in your database and you're building this leads, they're not all responding to you. So if you've got a listing coming up in a specific neighborhood, or maybe neighborhood, or maybe you don't even have one, but maybe somebody in your office. So start networking with other agents in your office. Say, hey, I got a bunch of people looking for properties on my Real Geek site. If you got any listings coming up, I want to let them know about it first. So then you can send in. So like if I had a listing in my old neighborhood, Lani Kai, I had one coming up. I would then go into my Real Geeks website. I would search property location in the advanced search. I'd go in there and I would say Lani Kai, and I'd get a certain amount of leads come up. And being that my database has been going for years, like 8 years, I don't want to like reach out to the people that looked like 6 years ago. So I'd go, oh, anybody that, and then I would add another filter. Anybody that was active in the last, maybe say 4 or 6 months, it would make the list even smaller. And then if it was in a specific price range, I could even go average prices between whatever. And then now I got a nice list. And then from the Real Geek system, you can send an e-blast and maybe put the subject, still looking in Lani Kai with a question mark as a subject. Hi, Todd. I know of a new listing, or I've got a new listing coming up in Lani Kai. I know you were previously looking. I wanted you to be one of the first ones to know about it. Are you interested in finding out more about this property? Please let me know. We have like Corey Prince and a lot of these guys doing that, and they have leads all of a sudden raising their hands and never reply, going, yeah, I'd like more information.
Yeah, and there's so much great marketing copy you can use in those headlines, right? Here's a house no one else knows about. Here's one not on the market yet. Here's one that should sell under market value. There's so many ways to stir that activity back up, and it does a lot. It does like 5 great things. Number 1, it gets you some actual legitimate buyer leads. Number 2, we call shaking the database.
Too, though. Remember, could be sellers.
Yeah,
too.
Absolutely. We call, but if you're literally thinking, here's a listing, I want a buyer. Then that's like the most direct thing it could do. You may not be thinking about it could stir up a seller. It also just churns your database. We call it stirring up, shaking up the database, right? Warming it back up. Some people that might say, that's awesome, we're still not ready, but thanks. But you're just keeping them active. You're just keeping the site sticky, keeping your database value added. So you're sending them something that's not garbage.
All right, this is all great information. So I'm going to ask one other question about this lead source. And then I want to hear about the second and third, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Because we said we would go over all 3.
Yeah.
So what are your agents saying to these people, these property search leads? They're not buyer leads, they're property search leads, because they could both be a buyer and a seller. I'm gonna keep saying that until people actually start listening and treating them as a potential buyer and seller.
Yeah, and double their ROI.
Yes.
So our scripts are pretty basic. I had a thought there a second ago. Jeff and I were talking the other day, just before I answer that. We were talking the other day, actually swung by the office, and we were masterminding a little bit, and we were talking about how all the ways you can find properties to send out in the way that we were just talking about. There's so many sources. Like Jeff mentioned, ask the other agents in your office. Well, I'm an independent brokerage. We don't have 100 agents rolling around, but we prospect every day. So we'll prospect expireds, for sale by owners. We'll do neighborhood prospecting or circle prospecting. We'll call 15 other lead sources. We'll have radio leads, sign calls, internet leads, whatever. But every time you talk to someone that's a not right now, or a maybe, or a I don't want to put it on the market, but if you have a buyer, call me. Well, Jeff was reminding me how valuable it is to keep that and grow a list of those people. Whether it's like, I would sell it, but I won't put a sign out. I don't want anyone to know about it. Only call me if you have a buyer. Okay, cool. But that's something that I could then say, hey, any of my buyers interested in something like this? So there's a lot of ways. If people are thinking, well, I don't have properties to send them, you can get properties to send them. Okay, I just wanted to share that.
Yeah. Oh no. I mean, that's amazing, because we were sharing that, and I told you when I was prospecting expireds and all that, I kept a list of all those people for maybe potential properties I wanted to buy. But everybody in my office knew, and agents around the town, especially in a hot market, knew that I was prospecting, and they knew that I found properties of people that said they would sell, but they didn't want to go through the hassle putting it on the market. So I always had that list, and agents were coming to me. every year I'd put 15 to 20 deals together that were never listed because of that list.
Yep, double end them.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
double end them, or other agents would come to me and I'd say, yeah, I got something like that. I know somebody. We do a one-party listing with a person. Bam, put it under contract.
Yeah, and we use our private portfolio marketing a lot. But even just chatting with you, I went straight back and talked to the team about, hey, there's 2 or 3 sources that we're not fully utilizing to build this list, to build the momentum for the type of marketing we were just talking about, and like 20 other things you can do. But to answer your question, to answer your question of what our agents are saying to these home search leads, online leads, basically they're going to call them back as fast as possible, and our script is pretty basic. Hey, Frank, I noticed you were on the website looking at houses in the Plano area. I'm just curious if you guys are only looking in Plano or you're open to other areas as well. And as you guys know, it doesn't matter what their response is. It's not that it's not important, but it's fine either way. Frank can say, no, man, Plano is the only place we're going. Or he could say, well, you know, anywhere around there with good schools.
Frank. Well, I want to hear role play. Come on, Frank. Let's
Okay, cool.
I'm here.
So are you guys looking in the Plano area or other areas as well?
I like Frisco too.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a great area. Booming, man. There's so much development out there right now. So if I could get you a list of homes that are only in those Plano and Frisco areas that are a perfect match for your price point and what you're looking for, would that be valuable to you?
Todd, that'd be so valuable because I sign up for all these sites online because I'm worried that I might miss a property if I don't sign up for all these home search sites.
Yeah, I can imagine the overwhelm you're experiencing right now. You're probably getting, even in a low inventory market, you're probably getting way more than you want to look at right now. So I'm glad that would be valuable for you. Hey, what about this? If I could get you a list of those homes that are in your criteria in those areas that nobody else knows about, that buyers are not fighting over, that don't have 10, 12 offers on them, would that be really valuable to you?
Well, Todd, that's what I need because whenever a home comes in the market, it immediately sells, and I go to these open houses, like 50 people there already. So anything I can get to give me an advantage would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean,
really buy a house.
Yeah, you're obviously a step ahead of most buyers right now because you're exactly right. That's what you need in this market is an advantage. You need a step ahead. So this is exciting. Awesome. Hey, man, I've got time Friday at 4 o'clock or even Saturday at 10 a.m. What would be a better time for us to get together so I could get you that information?
Oh, what's this for the list? I thought you were going to send it to me.
Yeah, that list I'm actually not able to send you because those are the sellers that have said specifically like, hey, I don't want to publicly market this house. I don't want the world to know about it. And that's actually where we get you that leg up. No one else knows about it. So if we sit down together and have a quick chat, then I would be able to disclose that with you and share that with you. But for that reason, obviously, we don't email it out or post it on the internet. So seeing as that would be super valuable. What's that?
You want me to meet with you? You want me to meet with you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm happy to give you like 45 minutes or an hour of my time, no obligation, answer any question you got, make sure that you feel really confident. But yeah, we want to get you that leg up. Obviously, you know, you're, like I said, you're a step ahead.
As long as you can get me into some of these houses so I can actually buy them before they sell to somebody else.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Hey, let me ask you real quick. Are you looking at this house as an investment or would this be a home? Do you have another house?
Family. This is a home for my family. I need to move because I have a job I'm starting.
Okay, cool. So you have a house right now that you're wanting to get out of?
Yeah, I do. I actually need to sell my current home.
Okay, cool. So that's one that you guys own and you're wanting to sell. Okay, great. So
that's the biggest thing, man. I can't have a current mortgage payment and then have another house payment at the same time. That's what I'm really freaked out about. So I got to move quickly on a house, but I also have to sell my existing house on 2 payments.
Yep, and you don't want to get stuck in the middle and be homeless. So we'll definitely go over some really unique stuff that we can do to protect you from that when we get together. So, and Jeff, so obviously we would close the appointment there and then we'd circle back and I would qualify a lot of the details that people right now are going.
But if you never would have asked me if I had a home to sell, you never would have known that.
Right, and Jeff's looking at me like he wanted me to ask it earlier, and we can talk about that. But what I want to do first is establish that I've given you a compelling reason to want to meet with me. That you want to come get that thing I have. Not that you're just willing to come meet with me, but that you want to come meet with me. Not that you're tapping out and saying, fine, I'll meet with you, but that you're saying, yeah, I seriously want to come get that. That sounds awesome. Now, once you have that desire, and anybody in any level of marketing knows that desire is really, really, really important. So once they have that desire, at that point, I'll ask them a question that's more of a qualifying question. And then once we'd set that appointment and they're wanting to come in, I'm going to circle back and qualify on all the things that a lot of people listening are probably thinking, well, he didn't ask them their timeline or who was involved or if they have an agent. There's strategic reasons why we put those questions right after we've confirmed a time to meet and given you a compelling reason to do that. It's kind of flipped from the way most people do it. It's flipped from the way we used to do it, but we've seen our conversion rates go up more than 50% since we made that switch 3-4 years ago.
You're muted, Jeff.
Okay, hey Frank, your sound,
Okay, cool.
it's when you talk, it sounds horrible for some reason. When
Really?
I don't, it's all messed up. I don't know what's wrong with your sound.
Oh, and this is my humidifier, by the way, over here.
Yeah, either that or
I'm losing my voice.
I was looking
to keep your humidity.
All right, Frank, you're all scratchy and rah, 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 rah. I don't know what the problem. Anyway,
I was looking for someone to pop out of that hookah back there or something.
yeah, he's got. It looks like there's weed growing back there too. In California.
I'm in Cleveland
right,
in a hotel room right now. I don't know where you are.
All right, so that's good. So what is your number 2 most productive? That was the radio advertising, right? And so how does that look?
So we call it direct response radio, but it's what you would think of if you're driving down the road and you have talk radio on, and I'll explain that in a second. And we run ads, direct response ads, and then we also I have a radio show, like not a podcast, a real radio show. But that's really, I would not call that one of our top lead generators. That's a long-term development deal. It does make all of our other marketing more successful, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about paid radio advertising.
Okay, and you're getting direct response, and how are you actually able to measure that?
Yeah, so we have tracking phone numbers for every different station we run an ad on, and then we call capture the time, the phone number. So we have a lot of tracking on that. But basically, the radio ad pitches what we call our over/under guarantee. We guarantee to sell your house over the average price and under the average time. We're currently averaging about 8.8% over the average sales price, not over the average asking price, because that could be totally bogus. Over the average comparable sale price, and we're currently averaging 3 times faster than the market average. So right now, the market average in our area actually just ticked up a little bit to right about 30 days in most of our focused areas, and we're about 9 days. So we're more than 300% faster. So we say 3 times faster. So then we send them to one of 2 places: a tracking phone number or a tracking opt-in site. Just an opt-in web page.
All right, so that's how you're tracking it, and then when they convert, then that's how you're determining your ROI. What's the ROI on that?
So it's interesting because it's nowhere near what those home search leads are. It's a little more than 2 to 1. Now there are times where that can creep up into the 3 to 1 range, but it stays pretty tight in that like 2 to 3.5 to 1 range, which is still a great return for a mass media market that makes all of your other marketing more effective.
So it's also a branding.
Yeah,
well.
yeah. And I'm not a big fan of branding unless it is a sidecar to direct response, lead gen, high quality. Now here's the thing about radio though. Radio generates the highest quality lead that we generate. So we target talk radio because people tune into talk radio because they want to listen and pay attention. People put music on to be kind of to drown out in the background, right? People listen to talk radio because they want to pay attention. So the response rate is exponentially higher. And I've learned a lot from a really great producer that helps me with a lot of my stuff. Like, you don't want to be on during sports. Nobody wants to respond during sports. But during drive time and midday stuff, if you're on a good show with a good size audience, people are highly likely to respond. We have tracked a lot of the follow-up systems to that. Just to give you another couple of nuggets, we actually send our radio calls to a direct voicemail. We have, believe it or not, I'm a big fan of a live human answering the phone, but we've tracked our success is a little bit better when it goes straight to voicemail. They will give us whatever we ask for, which is usually their name. We have their phone number, their email address 2 times, and the address of the property they're interested in talking about. They give it all to us twice. It's actually quite amazing. And then we can do a lot of really high quality follow-up because of what we capture. Now, if they call and hang up and don't leave a voicemail, there is absolutely no difference in the quality of our follow-up. They're just as responsive when we follow up. So there's really no risk in that approach. I can give you more details on that, or we can move on, whatever you guys think would be valuable.
Why don't we move on to the third one, which is center. I mean, we could probably do a whole show just on radio and you know, that kind of direct marketing. So your third source was center of influence, database, past clients, that kind of thing.
Yeah, what I would call repeat and referral business. So what you do, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it's important to track repeat business and referral business to know the difference. But as a lead source, we put it together, like you said, sphere of influence, circle of influence, past clients. But I think you do want to be able to invest a dollar or an hour into your clients coming back to you. And then on top of that, your clients being confident enough to introduce other people to you. I think those are different, and a lot of people lump them together. And there is a dollar investment in that. And like I said, if you really wanted to track that as paid marketing, that would be number one. But it's really, the budget is so low, and most of that return is on the relationship investment. That's why I wouldn't rank it the same. But anyway, what can I help you? What can I answer?
So what are you doing to follow up with those sources, and what systems do you have in place?
Yeah, so it's kind of multifaceted. So a team member on our team, when they sell a home, whether that's a company generated lead or whatever, they're going to reach out on the phone minimum once per quarter and talk to those people. We communicate with them by email or phone or text or something at least once per week. And I know a lot of people are going to go, whoa, that's a lot. I'm going to tell you, my philosophy is I would challenge you to communicate a little bit too much versus a little bit too little. Now, I will say this. Someone that bought a house from us 5 years ago is still getting communication once a week, but a very low percentage of it is real estate, hyper focused on real estate. A lot of it is relationship development. I write an email every Monday morning that is just kind of relationship, staying in touch. Here's something to think about. I will seed that with an occasional referral or real estate deal, but it's probably about 25 to 30% of the time. We do 2 client appreciation events a year, 2 major ones. We do something in the spring, usually a minor league ball game with food and everything provided. We invite them, hang out, have a blast. The other one, we do pies for all of our past clients in November. They come into the office, we give them pies. We do a big social media contest, and we encourage them in a lot of other ways. And we've started in the last year to do what we call small raving fan club events, where we have, like a couple months ago, we had everybody swing by an ice cream shop. Right when everybody went back to school, we just said, hey, come by for 5 minutes or stay for an hour. We're buying you and any friends, any neighbors, anybody you want to bring, we'll buy you an ice cream cone. That was awesome. It went really well. And then we do Raving Fan Club, where we have tools, resources that they can borrow, free notary service, free pressure washer, free ladder, tree trimming stuff, and it goes on and on and on. So there's a lot that we do for those people.
Nice. All right. Hey, Frank, because we're running out of time here. I mean, we could dive in on every one of those subjects and really dive in deep. What are some questions that people are asking for Todd on there?
Oh, so many. So to answer a question, pay-per-click, you can get real leads through Real Geeks. Why don't you tell people about real leads real quick, Jeff?
All right, so we actually call Real Leads now for our Google PPC. So we have that as a marketing service, and then we just rolled out our Facebook our Facebook lead ads marketing service. So not just driving Facebook traffic from Facebook to the Real Geeks site. We're actually capturing, it's one of the newest products that actually Facebook offers, and it's called lead ads. And they're actually signing up with their Facebook marketing, their Facebook account information on Facebook before they even go over to the Real Geeks website or property search. And it's all real information. They can change their phone number or what have you, but we're finding probably 95% to 98% of the actual every lead, the contact information is all correct. So we're doing that, and people are crushing that. So we have both those marketing services, and then obviously we have our Facebook marketing tool where they can run their own Facebook marketing. So what questions do we have for Todd?
A lot. How do you measure time to lead on your team? Like, is there a way when a lead comes in you can measure how fast people respond?
The short answer is there's not a perfect way. Our business development guy who's responsible for a lot of our tracking is in the room with our agents, and they're physically in our office, so we can track that. Putting notes in the system is effective, and then really sort of the mystery shopping and checking in with our clients and making sure that they're getting what they need. Having our ISA or business development guy spot check those leads at any given point. It's not perfect. I can openly admit that. There's a lot of systems that will tell you they'll track the lead if you're calling out of the system, but if you're out on your cell phone, you're not going to run it through. Yeah. So we oversee it and spot check it as often as we can, but it's not perfect.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, the Real Geek system, if they're actually using the system, they mark voicemail called or whatever, or if they're using Mojo Dialer, and you mark that, but still, it's just hard to track.
Yep. But you should do what you can. It's worth doing what you can and spot checking. You know, people say people respect what you inspect. So you do have to keep an eye on it.
What's the address for your follow-up system, Todd?
If you go to todds7secrets.com, TODDS number 7 secrets.com, then we'll give you two things. We'll give you a lot of stuff on there. I love sharing like this. So we just have the site set up that will share some info on us, but that'll give you our home search lead follow-up system that I was talking through in the beginning. It'll give you who to call on what day and how many times, and it'll tell you what day of the week our team prioritizes those. And then it'll also give you some videos about our 7 secret system, how we do the over-under guarantee in our core process of the kind of proprietary marketing system, which I'll share the outline of that with you guys, and I hope it helps you get higher fees and give more value to your clients and sleep better at night and enjoy what you do instead of your real estate life owning you.
What are your splits to your agents when you spend so much money and time on leads with an ISA? So you still feel profitable? So
I'll give you the exact numbers, and I'll give you my philosophy behind it. Our buyer specialists are on a 50-50 split, and our marketing specialists are on a 25% split. Now, every single agent that's on my team that's full-time selling houses this year will do over 6 figures, will do over $100,000. Now, a lot of people listening right now are thinking that those splits are low, and some team leaders and brokers are thinking those splits are crazy high because they know what all we have to do to provide that. I'll just tell you that my priority as a team leader, as a broker, is that every team member on my team hits their goals, succeeds, and has the life they want to live. My job on our team is 2 things. To help every agent achieve their goals, as long as their goals are in excess of what our team expectations are, and then to make sure there's enough opportunity for everybody to do that. So I do the marketing and the training, but that's how we do the splits. By the way, just to be clear, the opportunity is the exact same for a buyer specialist as it is a marketing specialist, which most people call that a listing agent. We call it a marketing specialist, because on our team, a marketing specialist is going to do about twice the volume as a buyer specialist. So the income opportunity is the same. Everyone feels it's a very healthy balance of the staff I provide, the support staff, the closing staff, the resources, the leads, the training, the office space, and all that stuff. So that's how we do it.
What do you use for call tracking? So you track where people call in from numbers?
Depending on the lead source, we have tracking phone numbers for different marketing campaigns or sources. We use Ring Central as our phone provider. We do almost everything from cell phones, but we route everything through. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Hey, I have a quick question that we never got time to. I don't know if we have time to dive into this one. What kind of training and coaching do you provide for your team?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I know I'm talking fast, but I'm hoping we can get to as many as we can. And
sure,
if you want to, we'll do another one of these later. I do a one-on-one with every team member at least every other week. And then there's another key leader on our team that does a one-on-one with them whenever I'm not. So it's every week. We do a buyer impact zone every Tuesday, a marketing impact zone or listing impact zone every Monday. Those are 90-minute meetings with just those specialists, just the marketing specialist or the buyer specialist. We do a team training every Thursday for 90 minutes. That's the whole team. That's when I'm usually presenting a new concept. And then we do a quarterly training day. Every quarter we get off site for a full day, and we go through, sometimes it's highly technical, sometimes it's mostly mindset. Last one I did the entire day on wealth building, and we talked a little bit about real estate, but we talked a lot more about building the life you love, investing outside of your job, outside of your role as an agent, and we encourage staff as well as team. And then there's a ton of grab an hour on the schedule, role play. So there's a lot of training. And then honestly, the whole consulting side of the business is just letting people in on that. And there's also a Wednesday 1 hour call that we do for consulting clients, but our team members are on that as well. And then we have online module training, like our entire listing marketing system, our 7-step system. We have modules online, and our agents on our team go through that as part of their onboarding process, where they would learn how to, pre-inspections, photography, staging, creating scarcity and urgency, marketing, negotiation, all that stuff. So sure. I don't want to take up our time, but there's a lot.
All right, cool. All right, so there is a lot of value you're bringing. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because otherwise it's hard to get a gauge for what we offer.
Yeah, exactly.
What else, Frank?
What other questions we got here before we got to hop?
Nothing else. I mean, I just kind of want to say is that we talked a lot about driving traffic to the Real Geeks page through pay-per-click.
Yep.
But let me just share with the audience that one of the things that we do for clients at Vyral, and you can do this yourself very easily, is when you get a Real Geeks platform, you can export all the emails of all your LinkedIn connections. This might be a good thing for you guys to do. Like, you can get the emails of all your LinkedIn connections to an export. If you Google it, there's actually a way to get the emails of all of your Facebook friends by like linking it up to like a Yahoo address book.
Mm-hmm.
But if you Google how to get the emails of your Facebook friends, you can get those too. You also have all the emails in your Gmail. Like, think of all those contacts you have in your Gmail account or Hotmail or whatever it is that you're using in your address book. But you also have all the people, obviously, in your CRM, if you're using an existing CRM before you transition over to Real Geeks. And you might also have some people in your cell phone, because not everyone has their syncing set up. You might have this mine of emails in your cell phone. So if you go through and you export all of those contacts, right, and then you upload them into an email marketing program, don't put them in Real Geeks, but some of their separate email marketing program that will deduplicate them, just send them a simple email. Hey, I got this amazing powerhouse site. Like, if you're thinking about buying or selling a home, you can find out what your home is worth. You can search all properties here.
Yeah, I was going to interrupt you, Frank, and just say the best thing we found to offer that kind of group is the seller valuation tool.
Yeah.
And what we did is we went and put a custom domain on it. So mine is valuethishouse.com. And we just tell people, hey, you can go to valuethishouse.com, get your home value. Don't everybody go there, because it's going to be a mess. But you can go to Todds7secrets.com and get some free stuff. Go value your own house somewhere else.
So a little tip with that email.
All those leads coming through.
Yeah, open the email with something that's going on in the news. Hey, here's something going on in the news, and here's how it kind of affects home prices. If you're curious, want to know what your home price is worth, check it out. But you can also search all the homes. And also, if you want, I'm going to put you on my newsletter, and feel free to reply to this email if you have any real estate questions, want to know what your home is worth. That one little simple message, boom, just kind of gets that immediate result right into CRM without having to spend money on pay-per-click.
Well, if we have 1 minute, Jeff, I was going to add one thing, if it's cool. We talked a lot about kind of the buyer side, but we also stressed that there's a lot of sellers involved. So a lot of what we're doing on this, trying to send people over to Real Geeks, is telling them about our USP, our unique marketing. So we would tell them, hey, we have a 7-step proprietary system where we can guarantee to sell your house over the average time, over the average price, and under the average time. Check out what your house is worth, and if you're interested, let us know. And that's one of the ways we're moving sellers onto Real Geeks, where I know a lot of people are thinking it's mostly home search, but we still want them in there, because we use Real Geeks for all of our initial contacts until they become a client. Then we might move them into Infusionsoft. But even our sellers, we want them to know about our unique 7-step system and our over-under guarantee, blah, blah, blah. Go ahead.
So here is one way that a lot of Real Geeks customers are really starting to leverage their database and sellers is, and I've said this on almost everyone, but I'm going to say it again. They're importing their database into the Real Geeks CRM. They're calling them. And then it's probably best to call them, because they should be calling them. You guys call them once a quarter, what have you. They're calling them saying, hey, Todd, this is Jeff with American Dream Realty. I've got a lot of friends just like you that have asked me to keep them updated on their real estate investment. I can go ahead and set you up on my website on a sold search. And what it'll do is send you sold properties in your neighborhood. It will also send you a monthly market report. And it's updated daily. or no, I would say it's updated every 5 to 15 minutes with the realtor's computer. The MLS has every property on there. Is that something you'd be interested in as well? So what you're doing is you're setting them, because when there's a sold search, there's a market report. I know there's not sold data in Texas because it's a non-disclosure statement, but you could easily tweak that and say, and set them up on the market report, because then it would show them.
Keep an eye on what's going on in the area.
What's going on in the market. And then on those market reports, it's just a link says, here's your market report, brings them back to the Real Geeks website with a one-line CMA style results page with the actives and the averages, the under contracts and averages, and if there's sold data, and most MLSs are the solds and averages, but the home valuation widget and the property search are right under those, the bottom table, so they'll engage. And once they go, oh, I wonder what my home's worth, they punch in their little address, they get their automated home valuation, the Real Geeks gets that notification.
We do that for every past client in the database. And just for people that are listening that are maybe new and this all sounds really complicated, just know we have agents on our team that are 1 year on our team doing 40 plus transactions almost exclusively from this stuff we just talked about today, from home search leads, from seller valuation leads, or from things we're putting through Real Geeks and converting. So they're going to make over $100,000 in their very first year doing 30 to 40 transactions. And this is just our team system. We do this, I won't say autopilot because not every agent's a perfect fit, but we get a good person. This is our playbook. They follow it, they make great money, and then they move into areas of specialization and beyond. So, I mean, I think the last thought I have is just to say, some of this stuff sounds complicated, but you can keep this simple because of what Jeff and these guys have built. And I know Jeff would say, even if it's not in Real Geeks, but if you're generating these home search leads, you can do this stuff. It's not overly complicated. We do some complicated stuff. We have a unique marketing system. You can check all that out at the link under my name. But no matter what you've got, if you're getting home search leads, you can do everything we just talked about. This follow-up system is not rocket science. These scripts are not brilliant. Well, they're good and they work.
We even have the Real Geeks, the Real Geeks system even has the workflow plans in it. So you can go in there, set up tasks, follow-up tasks. You could actually schedule that whole thing out, follow-up tasks, and then remove them off that and have auto text going out, auto emails, and also schedule those on your calendar when those tasks when to call them. And you could automate that, and then you just check it off and you take them off. Once you make contact, you take them off that workflow.
And you could do it on any system. And our team obviously uses yours, but even like my coaching consulting clients, we say, go get a Real Geek site, set this thing up, and then we'll show you exactly how to handle it.
I mean, here's the deal though. Like you started, whether they're using a Real Geeks website or some other CRM or whatever, just make sure that you keep it simple, you follow the plan, and you execute it daily. And then once you get that dialed in, then adds another layer. The problem is most agents go out there and they hear all these great things, and then they want to implement them all, and they half-ass them all, and then they declare that, you know, real estate's horrible.
This stuff doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
The leads aren't good.
Yeah, the leads aren't good. It's because they tried to do too much and they didn't stay focused and they weren't persistent. You got to be persistent and consistent and work at this stuff every day. There's no magic answer. Anyway, so with that, we're going to end it. I think that's a good way to end it, you know?
Yeah.
All right.
People can get all the stuff I talked about at that link under my name. If it would be valuable for you, we'll give it to you.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. We really appreciate you joining us, and hopefully we brought a lot of value, and we'll see you on the next Keeping It Real. Thanks again, Frank.